What happens when Roman Reigns walks onto the set of The View expecting a calm interview about family, wrestling, and Hollywood projects, only for Joy Behar to challenge him live on air in a way nobody saw coming? The tension builds slowly, the audience turns restless, and within minutes, the conversation becomes one of the most uncomfortable exchanges the show has seen in years. Make sure to subscribe to the Star Talks and like and comment for more talk show coverage. Welcome back to The View, Joy says with her usual smile as the audience applauds loudly. Today we are joined by one of the biggest stars in sports entertainment, actor, WWE superstar, and apparently now everybody's favorite guy online. Roman Reigns is here. The crowd erupts again as Roman walks out calmly, wearing a dark-fitted jacket, black shirt, and a confident expression. He shakes hands with the hosts one by one. Sonny Hostin smiles warmly. Sarah Haynes gives him a quick hug. Alyssa Farah Griffin compliments his entrance immediately. You know, Alyssa says as everyone settles into their seats, "You walk out and it suddenly feels like WrestleMania in here." Roman laughs. "I appreciate that. That's love right there." Joy smirks. "You wrestlers always know how to make an entrance." Roman nods politely. "That's part of the job." The audience laughs softly. Whoopi Goldberg leans forward. "Now, Roman, you've crossed over beyond wrestling now. Movies, television appearances, interviews everywhere. Do you feel like people finally understand who you are outside the ring?" Roman pauses thoughtfully. "Yeah, I think they're starting to. For a long time, people only saw the character. But I'm a father first. I'm a husband first. The business is what I do. It's not everything I am." The audience applauds. Sonny smiles. "And people really connected with that documentary you did talking about your health journey and balancing fame with your personal life." Roman nods seriously. "That was important for me. I wanted people to understand there's real pressure behind this business. Real sacrifice." Joy crosses her legs and tilts her head. "But let me ask you this honestly. Wrestling is scripted. So when people call you one of the toughest athletes in the world, do you think that gets exaggerated?" The crowd reacts immediately with a mix of gasps and laughter. Roman keeps his composure. "I mean, it depends on what you mean by scripted." Joy shrugs. "The outcomes are planned. That's not exactly the same thing as competitive sports." A few audience members murmur. Whoopi quickly jumps in. "Now hold on, because those guys absolutely get hurt." Roman nods toward Whoopi. "Exactly. The stories are scripted. The physicality isn't." Joy smiles tightly. "But you know why people say that, though? Some people look at wrestling and think it's acting in spandex." The audience reacts louder this time. Roman leans back slightly, still calm. "Acting in spandex with torn ligaments, surgeries, concussions, travel 300 days a year, and performing live with no off-season." The audience applauds loudly. Sarah nods immediately. "That part people forget." Joy raises an eyebrow. "Okay, but football players don't know who's winning beforehand." Roman gives a small smile. "And actors in movies don't actually fight aliens, but people still respect the work." The audience bursts into applause and laughter. Sonny covers her mouth, trying not to laugh. Alyssa looks over at Joy with a grin. Joy points at Roman jokingly. "Oh, so you came ready today." Roman chuckles. "You gotta stay ready on live TV." Whoopi laughs loudly. "That's right." The mood softens for a moment as Joy laughs too, though the tension still lingers underneath. A producer off-camera signals they have time before commercial. Sonny shifts the conversation slightly. "You've become one of the faces of WWE during a time where the business exploded again culturally. Why do you think wrestling is connecting with mainstream audiences now more than ever?" Roman nods. "I think because people are looking for stories again. Real personalities. Wrestling gives people emotion. Heroes, villains, family conflict. It's basically live theater mixed with athletics." Joy interrupts again. "But doesn't that blur reality for fans sometimes? Because some fans take it extremely seriously." Roman answers calmly. "Fans know more than ever now. The internet changed everything. People understand performance. But they still invest emotionally because they care." Joy leans forward. "But some wrestlers encourage toxic fan behavior online too." The audience quiets slightly. Roman's expression changes just a little. "I think toxic behavior exists everywhere online. But wrestling fandom can get intense," Joy presses. "Especially when performers play these aggressive alpha male characters." Alyssa jumps in carefully. "I think sports culture in general has that problem though." Joy keeps going. "Sure, But wrestling especially sells dominance and masculinity constantly. Doesn't that concern you? Roman folds his hands together. Not really. Confidence isn't toxic. Discipline isn't toxic. Protecting your family isn't toxic. The audience applauds again. Joy nods slowly but doesn't fully back down. Unless it crosses into ego. Roman smiles slightly. Everybody has an ego in entertainment, including television hosts. The audience explodes. Sunny literally leans away from the table laughing while Whoopi slaps the desk. Joy stares at Roman for a second before laughing awkwardly herself. All right, okay. Fair enough. Roman nods respectfully. I'm not even saying that negatively. You need confidence to do this job. Same as me. Whoopi points at Roman. That's actually true. The crowd claps again. Alyssa notices the atmosphere getting sharper and tries steering things toward Roman's family background. You come from this legendary wrestling family dynasty, she says. Was there pressure growing up? Roman exhales slowly. A lot. My family's legacy is huge. My father, my cousins, everybody accomplished something major. So when I got into wrestling, people expected perfection immediately. Sunny asks, did that affect your mental health at all? Roman nods honestly. Absolutely. Especially when fans rejected me early on. That was hard. Joy looks surprised. Really? Because now they worship you. Roman laughs quietly. Yeah, now they do. But there were years where people booed me constantly. Why? Sarah asks. Roman shrugs. They thought I was overpushed. They thought the company forced me into the spotlight. Joy jumps in quickly. Were they wrong? The audience reacts again. Roman pauses. This time the silence lasts longer. Well, he says carefully, every company pushes who they believe in. That happens in television too. Whoopi lets out an audible. Roman continues. But eventually people decide for themselves if you deserve your spot. Joy responds immediately. And you think you earned it? Roman looks directly at her now. I know I did. Huge applause breaks out across the studio. Joy keeps her smile, but the tension becomes impossible to ignore now. You're very confident, she says. Roman nods. You kind of have to be when millions of people spend years telling you that you're not good enough. That line changes the energy instantly. The audience quiets. Sunny's face softens. That's actually sad. Roman shrugs slightly. It's reality. People see fame and assume everything's easy. Joy crosses her arms lightly. But criticism comes with celebrity. Roman nods. Of course. I accept criticism. But there's a difference between criticism and people deciding who you are without knowing you. Whoopi watches both of them carefully now. Joy responds, while audiences only know the version celebrities show. Roman says calmly, that applies to TV personalities too. Another loud audience reaction hits the room. This time Joy doesn't laugh immediately. There's an awkward pause. A producer's voice can faintly be heard off camera counting down to commercial. Sarah quickly smiles. We're going to take a quick break. But Joy interrupts before the cameras cut away. No, because now I'm curious, she says, turning back toward Roman. What exactly are you trying to say? The audience instantly gets louder. Roman stays composed, but his tone becomes firmer. I'm saying everybody in entertainment plays a role sometimes. Wrestlers just admit it. The crowd erupts as the camera catches Whoopi trying not to laugh while Joy stares back at Roman in complete silence. And right before the show cuts to commercial, the audience can still be heard reacting loudly while the hosts begin talking over each other. The show returns from commercial with the audience still buzzing louder than usual. Even before the cameras fully settle back onto the panel, people can be heard whispering and reacting to the exchange that happened moments earlier. Whoopi smiles into the camera, trying to smooth things over. All right, we are back with Roman Reigns, and apparently things got a little spicy before the break. The audience laughs loudly. Roman smiles politely but stays relaxed in his chair. Joy Behar gives a short laugh too, though the tension is still sitting at the table. You know, Joy says, adjusting her cards. I've been doing this long enough to know when somebody's throwing little punches. Roman grins. I thought this was a safe space. The audience reacts instantly. Sunny laughs harder this time. Okay, that was good. Joy points at him jokingly. See? That right there. That's what wrestlers do. You guys know how to work a crowd. Roman nods. That's entertainment. But you also know how to dodge questions, Joy says quickly. Roman raises an eyebrow. Depends on the question. Whoopi jumps in carefully. Now don't start again. The audience laughs. Joy leans toward Roman slightly. No, because I genuinely find this interesting. Wrestling has become massive again, and you're one of the faces of it. But sometimes I wonder if the culture around it encourages confrontation instead of conversation. Roman listens carefully before answering. I think confrontation already exists, he says calmly. Wrestling just puts it out in the open. Joy shakes her head slightly. But there's a difference between healthy debate and turning everything into dominance. Roman responds almost immediately. You mean competition? I mean aggression, Joy replies. Roman pauses for a second. I think people confuse strength with aggression now. The audience applauds softly. Sunny nods thoughtfully. That's actually a fair point. Joy looks unconvinced. Is it though? Because some of these wrestling promos are basically men screaming at each other for 10 minutes. Roman laughs. You just described cable news too. The audience explodes again. Even Alyssa leans back laughing while Whoopi shakes her head smiling. Joy gives Roman a long look. You really came here prepared. Roman shrugs. I came here expecting conversation. Conversation or combat? Joy asks. Roman smiles calmly. Depends who I'm talking to. The audience lets out another loud reaction. Whoopi steps in before the moment escalates too quickly. Let's talk about something else for a second, because I actually want to know this. Roman, you've talked publicly about balancing fame and family. How hard is that really? Roman's expression softens immediately. That's the hardest part, he admits. People think the physical side is the hardest, but missing birthdays, missing time with your kids, being constantly on the road, that stuff stays with you. Sunny nods sympathetically. That's true for a lot of careers, honestly. Roman agrees. Exactly. And I think sometimes fans forget performers are real people outside the character. Joy responds quietly, but you benefit from the character too. Roman looks at her. Of course. So where's the line? Joy asks. Because wrestling sells this image of invincibility. But then celebrities ask for understanding when criticism gets intense. Roman sits back slightly before answering carefully. The line is respect. The audience becomes quieter. You can criticize performance all day, Roman continues. That comes with the business. But people online now act like they personally know celebrities. They talk about families, appearances, personal lives. That's different. Sunny immediately agrees. Social media has made people way too comfortable. Joy folds her arms. But celebrities also use social media to control narratives. Roman nods. Sure. Everybody shapes their image. Exactly, Joy says. So why complain when the public responds? Roman's tone stays controlled, but firmer now. Because there's still a human being underneath all of it. The audience applauds again. Whoopi points toward Roman. That's the point right there. Joy exhales and glances toward the crowd reacting. You know what I think, she says. I think audiences are getting tired of celebrity culture in general. A few audience members clap. Roman nods respectfully. That's fair. Joy continues. People are struggling financially, politically exhausted, stressed out constantly. Then they see celebrities making millions telling everyone how hard life is. The room shifts slightly. Roman listens carefully. That frustration is real, he says. I understand it. Joy looks surprised he agreed so quickly. But, Roman continues, pain isn't a competition. The audience reacts immediately. Roman keeps going calmly. Somebody struggling financially is real pain. Somebody dealing with pressure, anxiety, or public scrutiny is also real. One doesn't cancel the other out. Sunny nods strongly. Exactly. Joy still looks skeptical. But celebrities have enormous privilege. Roman responds, privilege doesn't erase pressure. Whoopi leans back, watching the exchange carefully now. Joy asks, do you think fame changes people? Roman thinks for a moment. I think fame reveals people. The audience gives an impressed reaction. Alyssa smiles. Okay, that was deep. Roman laughs softly. Nah, it's true though. If somebody's insecure before fame, they'll probably become more insecure after fame. If somebody's arrogant before fame, it gets worse. Joy quickly jumps in. And what about power? Roman looks at her directly. Power's dangerous everywhere. Joy narrows her eyes slightly. Including here? The audience immediately reacts again. Whoopi mutters, oh boy. Roman stays calm. I didn't say that. Joy smirks. You implied it. Roman smiles slightly. You interpreted it. The crowd erupts. Sunny covers her face laughing while Sarah looks nervous now. You know what's funny? Joy says. Wrestlers always act like politicians during interviews. You answer without answering. Roman chuckles. And talk show hosts always ask questions they already have opinions on. The audience gets louder than before. Whoopi literally leans away from the table, laughing hard now. Joy's smile fades just a little this time. Are you saying I'm biased? She asks. Roman answers carefully. I think everybody has bias. Joy leans in. Including you. Absolutely, Roman says immediately. That answer catches her off guard. Roman continues. I'm biased toward my industry because I know what it takes. Just like you're biased toward yours. The audience applauds loudly again. Sunny points between them. Okay, now this is the conversation. Joy shakes her head, laughing softly. No, because now he's trying to turn this around on me. Roman grins. I thought this was conversation. It is, Joy replies, but you keep challenging the hosts. Roman raises an eyebrow. You challenged me first. The audience explodes with noise again. For a second, even Joy can't help laughing. Whoopi finally jumps in firmly. All right. Nobody's powerbombing anybody today. Huge laughter fills the studio. Roman smiles for the first time in a more relaxed way. Whoopi continues. Here's the thing, though. I actually think this conversation is interesting because audiences today are exhausted by fake politeness. People can tell when celebrities are giving rehearsed answers. Sunny agrees. That's true. Whoopi gestures toward Roman and Joy. At least this feels real. The crowd applauds loudly. Joy nods reluctantly. I'll agree with that. Roman says calmly. I respect real conversation. Even disagreement. Joy looks at him for a moment before asking another question. Then let me ask you something directly. Roman nods. Go ahead. Joy leans forward. Do you think wrestling encourages younger men to emotionally shut down? The audience quiets instantly. Roman's expression changes. That's a serious question, he says. It is, Joy replies. Roman thinks carefully before answering. I think society already tells men to shut down emotionally, he says slowly. Wrestling didn't invent that. The audience listens closely now. Roman continues. In fact, I think wrestling's changed a lot. Guys talk openly about mental health now. Addiction, depression, burnout. 20 years ago, that almost never happened. Sunny nods immediately. That's actually true. Joy responds, but the image is still hypermasculine. Roman shrugs slightly. And Joy looks surprised by the blunt answer. Roman continues calmly. There's nothing wrong with masculinity. There's something wrong with insecurity pretending to be masculinity. A loud wave of applause breaks across the audience. Even some audience members stand briefly clapping. Joy looks around at the crowd reaction and smiles tightly again. Well, clearly you've got the audience on your side. Roman smiles politely. I'm not trying to win. Joy responds quietly. Feels like you are. The room suddenly gets tense again. Roman pauses before answering. No, he says calmly. I'm just not used to shrinking myself to make people comfortable. The audience gasps loudly. Whoopi's eyes widen. Sunny whispers, oh. Joy stares at Roman silently for a second as the crowd noise keeps growing around them. And just as the producers begin signaling another upcoming break, the atmosphere at the table feels noticeably heavier than before. The tension is still hanging in the studio when the cameras return again. The audience applause sounds louder, but more nervous now, like everyone realizes the interview has turned into something much bigger than a normal celebrity segment. Whoopi looks into the camera with a grin that feels half amused and half exhausted. We are still here with Roman Reigns, and apparently nobody at this table wants peace today. The audience bursts into laughter. Roman smiles slightly while adjusting in his seat. Joy Behar laughs too, though the energy between them is still sharp. Joy shakes her head. I just think it's funny that every answer somehow turns into a motivational speech. Roman chuckles. That's probably the wrestler in me. Sunny jumps in quickly. No, honestly, I think this conversation is interesting because it's really about public expectations. Sarah nods immediately. Exactly. Everybody expects celebrities to behave perfectly now. Joy responds. No, people expect accountability. Roman looks over calmly. Accountability and hostility aren't the same thing. The audience applauds again. Joy leans back. See, this is what you do. You phrase things very carefully. Roman smiles slightly. That's called thinking before speaking. The crowd reacts loudly. Whoopi immediately points at Roman, laughing. Okay, now you two are enjoying this too much. Roman laughs. I'm good. Joy responds. You say that, but I can tell you're irritated. Roman pauses for a second. I think people confuse calmness with weakness, he says. That line gets another strong reaction from the audience. Joy shakes her head with a smile. And I think people confuse confidence with wisdom. The audience lets out a collective, ooh. Alyssa covers her mouth, trying not to laugh. Roman nods slowly. That's fair. The answer surprises everyone slightly. Joy notices too. Oh, so we agree on something. Roman shrugs lightly. I can respect disagreement. Sunny says carefully. I think both of you are talking about image in different ways. Whoopi nods. Right. Roman's talking about how people judge him before knowing him, and Joy's talking about celebrity influence. Joy points toward Whoopi. Exactly. Roman adds calmly. And both things can be true. The audience applauds softly. For a moment, the atmosphere eases a little. Sarah smiles. See? Progress. But Joy quickly continues. Although I still think wrestling culture encourages unhealthy ideas about dominance. Roman exhales slowly through his nose, still composed. What do you mean specifically? He asks. Joy gestures with her hands. The trash talk. The intimidation. The obsession with being the alpha. Young boys watch that. Roman nods thoughtfully. And young boys also watch politicians insulting each other on television. Athletes fighting during games. Actors humiliating each other online. Music artists attacking each other publicly. The audience reacts immediately. Roman continues. The problem isn't wrestling. The problem is society rewarding conflict everywhere. Sunny quietly says, that's true. Joy responds, but wrestling profits from conflict. Roman looks directly at her. So does television. The audience erupts instantly. Whoopi drops her head onto the table laughing, while Alyssa literally turns away from the cameras for a second. Joy smiles tightly again. You really like that line. Roman shrugs. It's true. Joy fires back. You think this show creates conflict? Roman answers carefully this time. I think disagreement drives attention. The crowd gets louder again. Roman keeps going. People don't go viral for agreeing peacefully for 10 minutes. Whoopi points toward him. Now that is facts. Joy crosses her arms. So you think this is all performance? Roman shakes his head immediately. No, I think emotions are real. But television amplifies them. The audience quiets, slightly listening closely. Roman continues calmly. When cameras are on, people naturally become more intense versions of themselves. Joy responds, including wrestlers. Absolutely, Roman says instantly. That answer throws the tension off balance again. Sunny smiles. At least he admits it. Roman nods. Of course I do. Wrestling is storytelling. Joy asks, then who's the real Roman Reigns? The audience becomes quieter again. Roman leans back thinking carefully before answering. The real me is probably way more boring than people expect. The crowd laughs. No, seriously, he continues. I'm a dad. I stay home. I train. I spend time with my family. The character is amplified confidence. Joy raises an eyebrow. Amplified. Roman nods. Everybody amplifies something publicly. Joy responds immediately. Not everybody creates an intimidating persona. Roman smiles slightly. You don't think TV personalities do? The audience explodes again. Sunny nearly falls forward laughing while Sarah says, Oh my God. Joy laughs too but shakes her head. No, because now you're just accusing me of being scary. Roman grins. I didn't say scary. What did you say? Joy asks. Roman pauses just long enough for the audience to react. I said intimidating. The audience absolutely erupts. Even the crew off camera can be heard laughing. Whoopi wipes tears from her eyes. This man is cutting promos at the table. Roman laughs, finally breaking some of the heaviness. Joy points at him. See? That's exactly what I mean. You can't turn it off. Roman smiles. You think I'm cutting a promo right now? I think you know exactly what you're doing, Joy replies. Roman nods calmly. So do you. The audience lets out another massive reaction. There's a pause. One of the longest pauses of the interview so far. Then unexpectedly, Joy smiles. Not the polite TV smile from earlier. A real one. Okay, she says. That was good. The crowd applauds. Even Roman looks slightly surprised. Whoopi notices the shift immediately. There we go. Progress. Joy laughs softly. No, because he's impossible. Every answer sounds like he's about to enter an arena. Roman chuckles. That's years of live television. Sunny says thoughtfully. Honestly, though, I think this conversation explains why wrestling became mainstream again. People miss larger personalities. Roman nods. People want authenticity. Joy quickly replies, or they want spectacle. Roman answers. Sometimes those overlap. The audience reacts again. Alyssa jumps in before things spiral again. Can I ask something different? What's the weirdest thing about fame? Roman immediately answers. People thinking they own access to you. The audience quiets. Roman continues more seriously now. That's the hardest adjustment. Complete strangers feeling entitled to your time, your energy, your opinions. Joy asks, but isn't that part of celebrity? Roman nods. Partially, but there has to be balance. Sunny agrees. Social media destroyed boundaries. Roman nods again. Exactly. People forget performers are humans first. Joy says carefully, but fans are the reason celebrities exist. Roman responds calmly. And respect should go both ways. The audience applauds loudly. Joy looks at him for a long moment before asking quietly, do you ever get tired of constantly defending yourself? That question changes the energy immediately. Roman's expression softens a little. Yeah, he admits honestly. The audience becomes silent. Roman looks down briefly before continuing. Because eventually you realize some people already decided who you are before you even speak. Joy listens carefully now without interrupting. Roman continues quietly. And after a while, you stop trying to convince everybody. Sunny nods sympathetically. Roman glances toward Joy. You just try to stay solid in who you are. The audience applauds again, softer this time. For the first time all interview, Joy doesn't jump in immediately with another challenge. Instead, she says quietly, that I understand. The room noticeably softens. Whoopi smiles, looking between them. See, we got somewhere. The audience laughs gently. But then Joy adds one more comment. Although I still think you'd be terrifying in an argument. The crowd laughs loudly again. Roman smiles. Only if somebody starts it. Joy instantly points at herself dramatically. Oh, so now this is my fault? Roman laughs. I didn't say that either. The audience erupts one more time as the producers begin counting down toward the final segment of the interview, with everyone at the table now realizing the conversation has completely taken over the show. By the time the final segment begins, the energy inside the studio feels completely different from the start of the interview. The audience is fully invested now. Even during the break, people had been talking loudly among themselves about the exchange between Roman Reigns and Joy Behar. When the cameras come back on, Whoopi immediately laughs before she can even start speaking. I gotta tell you, she says, shaking her head, this audience has been arguing during the commercials too. The crowd bursts into applause and laughter. Roman smiles while taking a sip of water. Joy adjusts her papers but is smiling now too, though there is still tension underneath the humor. Sunny looks toward the audience. People are very divided in here. Oh, I know, Joy says jokingly. Half the audience thinks I attacked him. The other half thinks he body-slammed me verbally. Huge laughter fills the studio. Roman grins. Nobody got body-slammed today. Yet Alyssa jokes. The audience reacts loudly again. Whoopi leans forward. Now, before we wrap this up, I actually want to say something serious for a second. This conversation got heated, but I think people watching at home are tired of fake interviews where everybody agrees with each other. The audience applauds. Roman nods respectfully. I agree with that. Joy looks at Roman and says, and to be fair, you handled yourself well. The crowd reacts with surprise. Roman smiles slightly. Thank you. Joy continues. I still disagree with some of what you said. Roman nods. That's all right. But, Joy adds, you answered directly. Most celebrities avoid uncomfortable conversations. The audience applauds again. Roman responds calmly. I'd rather have a real conversation than a fake easy one. Sunny points immediately. That's why this interview worked. Joy laughs softly. Worked for who exactly? My mentions are probably exploding already. Whoopi laughs. Oh, they absolutely are. A producer off camera can actually be heard laughing at that point. Sarah asks Roman, do moments like this bother you afterward? Or do you just move on? Roman thinks for a second. I've learned not to carry everything with me, he says honestly. Especially public criticism. If you take every opinion personally, you'll lose your mind. Joy responds quickly. That's probably true for us too. Whoopi nods dramatically. Especially us. The audience laughs. Roman continues. At the end of the day, Disagreement isn't automatically disrespect. Sunny agrees immediately. People online forget that. Joy adds, social media turns everything into teams now. Roman nods. Exactly. Somebody watches a conversation and immediately decides there has to be a winner and loser. The audience claps again because everybody clearly understands what he means. Whoopi gestures between Roman and Joy. And honestly, I don't think either of you lost this conversation. Joy points toward Roman. Speak for yourself. This man had the audience cheering every 2 minutes. Roman laughs. I work in arenas. Crowd reactions are kind of my thing. The audience erupts again. Alyssa jokingly says, see? He can't help himself. Joy laughs too. No, seriously. Every answer sounds like entrance music should start playing. Roman grins. Now that would be an exit. The crowd starts clapping rhythmically for a second like a wrestling audience. Whoopi shakes her head laughing. Don't encourage him. Then the atmosphere shifts slightly more serious again as Sunny asks one final question. What do you hope people take away from conversations like this? Roman's expression settles immediately. I think people need to get more comfortable disagreeing without instantly hating each other, he says. The audience quiets to listen. Roman continues calmly. Somebody can challenge you without being your enemy. Somebody can criticize you without destroying you. But now everything becomes personal immediately. Joy nods slowly while listening. Roman glances toward her briefly. And honestly, I respect people more when they say what they actually think. That gets another round of applause. Joy responds quietly. Even if they annoy you? Roman smiles. Especially then. The audience laughs warmly. For the first time during the entire interview, the tension finally feels mostly gone. Whoopi smiles, looking around the table. See, we made it. Joy laughs. Barely. Sarah turns toward Roman. I do think people watching are going to talk about this interview for a while. Roman shrugs jokingly. That's good business. The audience reacts loudly again. Then Whoopi delivers the closing line for the segment. Well, Roman reigns everybody. The crowd gives a huge standing ovation as Roman stands up and shakes hands with the hosts. Joy stands too and shakes his hand firmly. You're tougher than I expected, she tells him with a grin. Roman laughs softly. I get that a lot. The audience reacts one last time as he hugs Whoopi and waves toward the crowd before walking off stage. But the story doesn't end there. Almost immediately after the episode airs, clips from the interview explode across social media. Short videos titled Roman Reigns humbles Joy Behar. Joy Behar versus Roman Reigns gets heated, and the View audience erupts during Roman Reigns' clash begin trending within hours. On X, fans argue nonstop over who won the exchange. Some viewers praise Roman for staying calm under pressure and defending wrestling, masculinity, and celebrity culture without losing control. Others defend Joy, saying she asked difficult questions that many interviewers avoid asking celebrities directly. Some clips rack up millions of views overnight, especially the moment Roman says, "Wrestling didn't invent conflict. Society rewards it everywhere." Another viral moment spreads everywhere. People confuse calmness with weakness. Fans begin quoting the line under sports posts, celebrity debates, and political arguments online. Even celebrities start reacting. Several wrestlers publicly praise Roman for staying composed during the interview. Sports commentators debate whether Joy underestimated him because of wrestling stereotypes. Entertainment blogs post headlines calling it one of the most unexpectedly tense daytime TV interviews of the year. Behind the scenes, reports begin circulating that producers at The View were actually thrilled with how much attention the episode received. According to backstage audience members, Roman remained respectful after the cameras stopped rolling. Multiple people claimed Joy and Roman continued talking privately off-camera for several minutes after the show ended, both appearing calmer and even laughing together at one point. One audience member later posts online. They disagreed, but it never felt fake. That's why everybody got so invested. Within 24 hours, reaction videos flood YouTube. Comment sections become full-scale debates about celebrity culture, masculinity, wrestling, media bias, and public confrontation. And on the Star Talks channel, viewers continue arguing over one question more than anything else. Did Roman Reigns outsmart Joy Behar? Or did Joy successfully challenge him in ways most interviewers wouldn't dare? Share your opinion in the comments and subscribe to the Star Talks for more real talk show stories.